Hey, how's it going, you guys? Just wanted to talk about something I stumbled upon. This is called Mycheckr, and it verifies your age using facial recognition technology. It's fun stuff. And you see on their logo here, the Agenda 2030 wheel. Yeah, it's pretty transparent what this is all about. And one thing I found interesting is they have this face covering detection, and they can verify your identity and your age, even if you're covering your face. And it says right here they developed this during the whole COVID 19 pandemic, right? Which is what everybody said that the mask was for at the time. And here they are, just going ahead and admitting it and saying, here it is. We appreciate your participation. One of their accreditations is the NIST, which, as you know, the NIST is connected to this FIDO Alliance, which now has 9 different governments connected to it. And as always, Vanguard is connected to it, and several other things that I've talked about on my channel several times, right? So this Mycheckr is connected to that. It's also connected to Davos. The World Economic Forum is partnered with the FIDO Alliance, along with the Secure Technologies Alliance, which is partnered with Get Group North America. This company working on these mobile IDs in Oklahoma and Georgia and Utah. You know, this mobile ID, which eventually will transform into this digital ID card. This is the Sentry card. And as you can see on the Sentry card, it has a UHF antenna, which will be used to track your location and add this data to your social credit score, right? Where you go, where you congregate, who you may congregate with. It's a very interesting piece of technology that is also partnered with this FIDO Alliance. So you're starting to see this this dragnet that is forming around us while we are distracted with the 24/7 divide and conquer distraction theater we call the mainstream news. Also the alternative news, it seems. You know? While we all argue amongst ourselves about what Nancy Pelosi said and what Joe Biden said, they've been building this spider's web of control, this decentralized form of government that, while a lot of people are painting as a good thing, will not be. And they're saying this is the biometric fingerprint sensor, which will also be attached to these things. And as I just said, this Sentry card is partnered with the FIDO Alliance. I'll show you that right here. Here they are, Sentry Enterprises. Right. All this attached to your social credit score. as it talks about on their website, which I will include in the description, a link. Right? Passwordless authentication. Right? It's all about convenience, all about comfort. You will own nothing and be happy. Physical entry with your card. Once they replace everything with smart locks, and we live in our smart city prison. And we have here our cold storage crypto wallet, which with time will become your CBDC, Universal Basic Income Government Tokens. And I find it funny how they say self-sovereign identity, as if this makes you sovereign. It clearly is anything but, you know? And speaking of universal basic income, we have this ID Me, which is connected with people's unemployment benefits, Social Security, the IRS, the Patent Office, and they're talking about using facial recognition technology to verify your identity as a way to, promote inclusion and equity. Somehow they make this argument. I'm not going to bore you with that. I call equal opportunity to be a government slave, and it's becoming increasingly obvious that that is what this is really about. A good example of these things, and the smart city initiatives that I've talked about before. It talks about non-profit organizations, city bureaus, all sharing this data. And this is in Oregon, where we have a prime example of all government services being connected to this thing. Nike, also, see at the top here, Amazon, right, which connects it to the FIDO Alliance. And I did a video on this a while back. It's called Social Justice Equals Social Credit Score, where I talked about how all this connects to the FIDO Alliance and Davos. But you see here, Oregon Department of Corrections, Department of Education, Department of Environmental Quality, Department of Human Services, Department of Transportation, Food Bank, all these government services, right? And one of their chairs received his education in Geneva, right? Very similar to the co-founder of BLM, Alicia Garza, who is a young global leader, Klaus Schwab educated, right? No surprise, right? At the Graduate Institute for International Development Studies, and the more I look at it, it seems like a lot of people come here to get their marching orders. We have the Vice President of BlackRock, Philip Hildebrand, also receiving his marching orders. The 7th UN Secretary General, Kofi Annan, also receiving his marching orders from Geneva. What a shock. We have this person on the advisory board for the Global Health Center, Alana Kickbush, who took part in some pandemic exercises organized by, guess who? Bill Gates, right? She's part of Bill Gates's global network. And of course, she's involved in global health governance, global health diplomacy. Ah. Doesn't that send a chill down your spine? Global health governance. Just that whole word, governance. It just sounds dystopian. And the whole idea, you will own nothing and be happy. Everything will be a government service. Right? You will be paid to be a good, compliant citizen. And if you are not compliant with all of their various edicts and mandates, you will be excommunicated from society entirely. We have this company, AFI, which is working on these autonomous convenience stores, right? No employees, just AI, your best buddy AI. And you see facial recognition technology all around, biometrics, convenience, comfort. Long as you do exactly as you are told and never talk to anybody who doesn't. Never even get near them. All right, frictionless checkout, convenient receipts. It's all about convenience, how they sell it to you. And as you see, one of their partners, Qualcomm, is a member of the FIDO Alliance as well. All right, it's just all these smart city initiatives that I've been telling people about for years now, where they talk about smart autonomous vehicles and IoT sensors, right? Telling us it's to test the air to see if it's good quality air. Yeah. And these open data programs, right? Establishing this data governance team. And you're seeing this. They're doing it, right? Sharing this data with all city bureaus, private sector companies, nonprofit organizations such as Partners in Diversity, academic universities. Very similar to the Geneva Graduate Institute and other universities like the Georgia Tech Institute of Technology, who's working on the Internet of Bio Nano things, you know, the quantum dot tattoo, and all these other things. You know, University of Nebraska Lincoln working on these things. So, you know, then we tie that in with the HARPA blueprint, right? And DARPA's connected with all of these things, right? Add in the TAPS Act, where private sectors, and they say two representatives of a non-governmental organization, this is their task force, they'll be using, collecting all of this data, you know, building behavioral profiles on the population, right? To mental health service professionals. Yes. Yes. You know, it talks about using the private sector and all these things, right, to build this profile, right? Add it to the little database. You add that to this war on domestic terror they're manufacturing, just like every other war they have manufactured over the decades, where now anyone with a potential bias related to religion, gender, or sexual orientation. And it just says all other domestic terrorism threats. Just anything we forgot, you know? Add that in. We will now treat you as a domestic terrorist threat. So you put that all together. And it becomes clear what their motives are, what their objectives are. And it's total control over every aspect of your entire life. And they will manufacture the consent if they must. And they do. You know, but I hope that you can see through it. God bless.